Sanibonani, good afternoon, and welcome back to Green Pastures Coaching. My name is Tsehofatso. Um, so we are back again to another conversation where we break down, we cry, we vent. Because kuningi, right? It's a lot. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, and we were talking about feeling uncertain, right? There's a lot of things that's going on in the world, right? There's a lot of things that are making people feel uncertain. Whether wasebeta or hausebeti, you are facing some sort of challenge, so to speak. Feeling uncertain about whether this load shedding thing will ever end. COVID and pre-COVID, we've seen how people were very anxious to say, "Will I lose my job? What if we do? What if we don't get products? What if we don't get? What if the company is not making it and so forth?" So we've seen a lot of other people moving from one place to another, right? And that has caused a lot of uncertainty, anxiety, and fear in people, right? Now you can be uncertain, and when you're uncertain, you feel some sort of anxiety, right? When you're uncertain, you feel a lot of fear. It's how sure man, ngilabona how awukho sure ukuthi ngiyaphambili ngiyemuva. What should I do? Should I go left, right? And the best way to assist yourself in feeling less of that anxiety and feeling uncertain about the world is preparation. But before I speak about preparation, um, one thing that as individuals that we don't do is right? We like to I understand, even though this is a development stage that we want to make choices and we want to control situations, but there's certain situations that it doesn't matter what we do. Unfortunately, we can't control that situation. We can't control COVID. We couldn't, right? We couldn't control um, load shedding. This is something someone has to then assist us and just bring us electricity. Right? But there's certain things that are happening outside that we are unable to solve. And when we start accepting those things, we are going to reduce on what we think we can control. So the first thing about reducing your anxiety and being anxious and being uncertain about the future, it is accepting what we can control. Ngoba siyathanda ukucontrola yonke into you want, I can do it. Wabona? And sometimes we think having lots of money and so forth can solve it, but you can still be living in a beautiful estate and gune load shedding. Do you understand what I'm saying? But sometimes not only because it doesn't affect you, but it affects other people and other places, right? So it's accepting the things that we can control. Oftentimes, when we are feeling uncertain or unsure, is because sicabangela pambili, right? But what is then the best way of then solving the future without having to prepare for it? It's only to prepare. Preparation is the only thing that can assist us so that we can be less anxious about the future and be uncertain about the future. So if you are feeling uncertain about whether your marriage is going to work, like currently, you are most of the time when you're uncertain is because you are looking at the current situation, right? And when you are looking at the current situation, you are looking at, yeah, Mara, this marriage at right? It's not stable, right? And you may have fear and anxiety about the future to say, what if things go wrong, and that's why you are uncertain. And part of it, maybe it's also signing a part when that you want things to work, but you're not sure kanjani when things are like this, right? And you are now thinking of other effects in terms of your children and so forth, how it's going to affect your children. Sometimes you can be uncertain about, you may be employed or unemployed, but you're certain because of now it's problems of the problems of the problems. So you are looking at the current situation. Your anxiety and fear comes from what you are seeing, what you're perceiving at the current situation, and having some sort of belief that this may take long or this may take forever, or you aren't seeing any solution towards that particular thing. It can be in the workplace, it can be with your children. Sometimes you are uncertain about and or unsure about if you'll be able to even afford your school your kids varsity fees, right? Judging based on the current situation. So the best way for one to plan, or the best way for one to not feel uncertain and unsure about the world, is preparation, is to plan ahead. And by planning ahead is to look at, yes, things may not look good at the moment, but you can still think far to saying what would I like to achieve in the next 3 years to come, right? So if your marriage at teka, you ask yourself, what would I like, really? Like, what would I like for us to have in the marriage, which is a healthy relationship, right? A healthy marriage where there's great communication, where man, there's we are able to hug and kiss each other and give each other love and serve each other, right? If you are unemployed and currently you are looking at how am I going to be able to afford all these other things, so you plan ahead to saying, imagine when you have it, right? Imagine like things are solved in a whole sharp. You understand what I'm saying? Imagine when imagine when you're looking at your health, when you're thinking you're dying. Imagine that you are looking at your health to say, now you are healthy, you are strong, and things are happening, are doing good, right? The important things is to plan ahead, is to prepare for that particular future and prepare for the positivity of it. And by preparing for the positivity of it, you start creating a growth plan. A growth plan, in simple terms, is basically creating like a smart goal strategy, right? Is it specific? When do you want? Is it 3 years to come? Is it 5 years to come? Is it a year to come, right? So is it specific, right? Then you need to measure, right? Is it measurable? And how will you know when you have achieved it? For example, how will you know when your marriage is okay? Right? You still need to measure. How do you know that the marriage is okay? How do you know that your business is going well? How do you know that you've saved enough money for your children, right? For them to go to varsity and so forth, right? How do you know? That means it needs to be measurable. Then we start looking at, is it attainable? Meaning, who is responsible for achieving that particular goal? Who are people? Which people are involved? Which people are important? Who needs to be involved in order for the goal to be achieved? And most of the time, obviously, it's yourself, but also because we are in relations with different individuals, be at work with your children, we need to relate, we need to work together as a team in order to attain and achieve that particular thing, right? We need to look at, is it realistic? Is this goal realistic? So whatever you are preparing for, is it realistic? Right? Because sometimes we may be looking at our marriages, we may be looking at work, we may be looking at our children and having a certain expectation or a goal of what we want to achieve, but only to find out we are not being realistic about it. Right? Understand? Are we realistic about this particular thing that we want to achieve, right? And again, we need to put a time frame. By when should we have achieved it? Right? By when should we have achieved it? And that is one of the things that are important to assist an individual or a person when you are feeling uncertain, when you are feeling anxious, when you're feeling fear about the future, and you are looking at based on what is currently going on now. What may be going now, what may be going now may be different, may change in the next month, 2, 3 years, 5 years to come, and is going to be based on the small decisions that one is taking. It's going to be based on the small decision and activities that one is taking. I hope this advice, I hope these tips, I hope the suggestion is going to assist you feel much better when you're feeling uncertain about the world, feeling uncertain about yourself, feeling uncertain about your future, right? If you've got any questions, if you have a story, if you've got anything that is troubling you, that's giving you, making you feel traumatic, that making you feel traumatized and causing you to feel depressed, you can contact me. You can DM me on my number. It is 0810403402. I hope I said that right. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. It's Tshegofatso Apani. And on Facebook, I post every Tuesday and Thursday on Green Pastures Coaching. Guys, I'll see you on my next video. Bye-bye. Love you. God bless.